This is all of the Easter eggs from the awesome survival adventure game AtomFall, where you try to escape a British village which is suffering from a nuclear fallout. I've put timestamps in the description so you can skip to the ones you're most interested in. Enjoy! At Robotics in the Interchange, if you go to this location, you'll find something that is more than meets the eye. Yes, it's a reference to the awesome 90s TV show that was made into many successful movies, The Transformers. Judging by the evil red eyes, we're likely looking at a Decepticon here. Over in Slatendale, at this location, you'll come across this. Don't dig straight down, which is of course a Minecraft Easter egg. And why wouldn't you dig straight down?
Chicken jockey!
In the castle ruins in Casterfell Woods, when you walk through this tunnel you will see something creepy. It happens very quickly and is easy to miss. Using the game's photo mode you can get a much closer look at this possessed doll. This is an Easter egg to the developer Rebellion's previous game, Zombie Army 4, where you find these dolls throughout the game. The inspiration for the doll seems to originally come from the US horror film Annabelle. What's really interesting is if you slow it right down, the doll's eyes follow you. In the heavily guarded Protocol Workshop in Skethermore, if you walk past these broken robots and look to the lower shelf, you'll see a cool helmet. This is a reference to Judge Dredd from the popular US action movie Dredd, starring Carl Urban from The Boys. Despite its cult hit success, no sequel. However, with The Boys in hot demand, rumours of a new Judge Dredd series are heating up. Located at the interchange in Robotics, when you walk over to the shooting range and turn on your flashlight, you'll see a fashionable dude. This is a reference to the 1996 strategy computer game Zed by the Bitmap brothers, who Rebellion acquired back in 2019. In Casterfell Woods in this bunker past the infected, you'll see this confronting sight. This is a reference to the 2006 Rebellion third-person shooter game Rogue Trooper, which was published by Eidos Interactive, who made the Hitman series. At the boathouse in Wyndham Village, when you walk to the end of this jetty and look down, you're in for a surprise. This is in fact a zombie shark and is another Easter egg referencing the game Zombie Army 4. However, this is not all, as it's 2 eggs in 1, because next to it is a small damaged boat, which is a reference to an iconic scene in the famous and terrifying movie Jaws. We're gonna need a bigger boat! In the hedge maze in Skethermore, there's a dead man in a bowler hat with an umbrella next to him. This is an Easter egg for the TV character John Steed from the 1960s popular UK TV show The Avengers, a show about the funny adventures of a suave British agent. Located near the manor in Skethermore, you'll see this downed World War II helicopter that has a note, "She's no Merlin," and is addressed to Dan from Digby. This is a reference to the comic book series Dan Dare by Eagle Comics, where Dan Dare is a chief pilot of the Interplanet Space Fleet and Digby is his bumbling comic relief friend. Here I just want to point out that the game gives you hints to other Easter eggs you can find throughout the areas. For example, it says Merlin in this note, which is a reference to the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine which powered some of the most famous aeroplanes of World War II. However, it's also possibly hinting at the wizard Merlin, who was King Arthur's mentor and teacher. Wyndham Village is a homage to the Prisoner TV show and to John Wyndham, an English science fiction writer best known for his book The Day of the Triffids, which is the inspiration for our next Easter egg. In Casterfell Woods, you're greeted by this aggressive plant which shoots venomous projectiles at you, which is a reference to the creatures in that book. Close to this location, you'll see this historic Easter egg, the sword in the stone, otherwise known as Excalibur. The famous tale tells of whoever can pull this sword from the stone will be the future King of England. Many brave knights tried and failed. It wasn't until a scrawny young boy pulled it out and later became the famous King Arthur. You can pull it out with some effort, however it breaks. Maybe that's the game way of saying it's not sure if you're worthy of greatness, i.e. to liberate the quarantine and free the minds from the voices, or it's just a convenient way to give us another Easter egg, that being Naysil, the blade from the Lord of the Rings. In this dark tunnel in Casterfell Woods, you encounter some infected violent dudes that chase after you. What's interesting here is that they will not keep chasing you and return to the tunnel, perhaps showing some aversion to the sun. I believe this to be a subtle reference to the movie 28 Days Later, which makes timely sense as a long-awaited third part of the trilogy is set to come out later this year. Over in Slatendale, through this valley, high up on the hillside, you'll notice this tiny little car with a broom sticking out of it. This is of course a nod to the widely enjoyed UK TV series Mr. Bean scene. Using the photo mode, we can get a very close look at this in all its glory. My only gripe is we have Mr. Bean, but where is his beloved Teddy? I would have had him in the driver's seat. Missed opportunity there, Rebellion. Staying with the theme of UK TV shows, there's another Easter egg found in Wyndham Village at the Mayorview Hotel, which is a clear reference to Fawlty Towers, a show about an easily irritated manager running a dysfunctional hotel, with the very funny John Cleese, who's a member of the famous group Monty Python. On the side of the building you'll see this sign. In Slattendale, located at the Outlaw camp, you'll see this, which is a reference to the 1972 British horror film Deathline, where a police officer goes missing after investigating several reports of people missing in the London Underground Railway, hence this little gem at the top of the bus. Conveniently, just to the left of this, there is another Easter egg with the painting on this building that has a very nosy ball dude prying over the wall. It's not the only time we see him. This is Killroy, a popular cartoon associated with the American servicemen during World War II. This graffiti became the symbol of the war effort. In Casterfell Woods, remember the Merlin and Naysil talk? Well, just through these bushes we have 6 chairs and an axe splitting a ring. This is of course a Lord of the Rings reference to the Council of Eldron scene in the first movie, where Gimli tries to destroy the ring. In this alternate reality, he manages to break it. If you haven't seen the original trilogy, I highly recommend it. The prequel, The Hobbit, not so much. In Casterfell Woods en route to the Druid camp, you'll see this. It's a reference to the classic 1973 UK film Wicker Man, where a sheriff investigates the disappearance of a young girl on a small island. When you try to get in the centre, you'll see this little wicker basket, which is probably just the developer's way of saying that this is a reference to the original UK Wicker Man, not the poorly executed US remake. I also believe this to be 2 Easter eggs in one, because this Wicker Man doesn't match the original design and looks more like a reference to the DC comic book villain Galactus. Again timely, as Fantastic Four will come out later this year. In Casterfell Woods, located here, you'll find this. Skeletons in red, white and blue minicars, which clearly is a reference to the 1969 UK film The Italian Job, starring Michael Caine comically trying to steal a gold shipment from the streets of Turin. The cars at the edge of the road is likely a nod to the film's climax, which I won't spoil here. Also, there may be another Easter egg here, as the drivers are wearing flight helmets and its location is adjacent to the Casterfell Dam, which may be referencing the 1955 film The Dambusters, which was based on the real British air bombing raids on German dams in World War II. In Skethermore, next to the interchange, if you wander over here, you'll see a blue phone box on the hill. The remarkable thing about this is that when you get closer to it, it does this. This is a reference to the time machine called TARDIS in Doctor Who. The sound you hear is similar to that heard in the show. So there's no confusion, a hat is left behind, which is of course that of the 4th Doctor Who, played by Tom Baker. In section C of the interchange, when you pass through the doors into medical and then into this little gap, you'll see this poster. This is an Easter egg for Rebellion's game, Sniper Elite 4. In Skethermore, next to the Slate Mine ruins, you can head down into this little cottage cellar. You'll see this painting of a witch and another one of a lion. I think you see where this is heading. After you push the button, pulling the lever reveals this in the wardrobe. Yes, this is an Easter egg from the 1950 classic portal fantasy The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe from the Chronicles of Narnia novels. In Wyndham Village, we'll wander on into this cosy little pub called the Grendel's Head, where we'll find some Easter eggs.
A new customer.
On the beer tap, you'll notice this familiar looking design. Well, if you're a soccer fan. This is a nod to the Aston Villa football team, and if you have any doubts, just look at when it was established. Looks like the graphic designer's got a cheeky one past the developers here. To the left, if you walk towards the fireplace, I think the developers have put something in that nobody has noticed up until now. Up on the wall there is a portrait of a stern fellow with a noticeable little mustache. Remind you of anyone? No, not him. This could be again a reference to the Zombie Army series, as Hitler is the main antagonist. Let me know if you think I'm stretching here. Up the stairs we have a guaranteed Easter egg. Left of the dartboard we have the past winners and some noticeable pub names from UK TV shows. We have Coronation Street, Emmerdale, EastEnders, Only Fools and Horses, and the pub from the Wicker Man. The Grendel's Head is a popular British pub name, but could this be a reference to Beowulf, the old English epic poem telling the story of Beowulf travelling to Denmark to kill the monster Grendel? Outside of the pub in the paved lane you'll see this little fellow. If you smash him he makes this sound, which I expect is a nod to the fun 90s popular game called Lemmings, particularly when the lemmings would explode. Oh no! Fun fact, it was made by DMA Design, which later became Rockstar North, the company that made the Grand Theft Auto series. In the village hall in Wyndham Village, on Captain Sim's desk, you'll see a book called The Uncertainty Principle. This is a reference to a real concept in quantum mechanics first introduced in 1927 by German physicist Werner Heisenberg. The principle states that there is a limit to the precision with which certain pairs of physical properties such as position and momentum can be known. Interestingly, this physicist is the inspiration for the drug kingpin in the popular US TV series Breaking Bad. Over in Slatendale, we meet the outcast Nat Buckshaw playing a calming tune on his guitar. Adjacent to him is the book The War of the Worlds. The real book of that same title is by English author H.G. Wells. It's one of the earliest stories to detail conflict between humankind and an extraterrestrial race. In Wyndham Village under the St. Catherine's Church, you'll find this. George Buckminster Stobbart's headstone. This is a reference to Sir George Stobbart, who is the main character in the Broken Sword adventure game series by Revolution Software. I'm not sure of any connection between Revolution and Rebellion other than them both being British game developers. This hints at an Easter egg you'll find later in the game. In Skeathermore, you'll come across this lovely landmark, which at first glance appears to be a nod to the historical Stonehenge. However, it's actually a megalithic tomb, which are ancient burial chambers from large stone slabs, often found in Ireland, hence the Celtic cross. I've yet to find any further meaning in this one. Please share if you know something. In Skeathermore, come to this location to see this. 3 men in a bathtub, which is a reference to the nursery rhyme Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub, which has the butcher, the baker and the candlestick maker all in the tub going to the fair. In Casterfell Woods at the Datlow Hall grounds, you'll stumble upon this. A headless statue accompanied by a little bowler hat on the ground. This is a reference to the classic Oddjob scene in the James Bond film Goldfinger.
Nice.
Upon entering Datlow Hall, remember that pub reference on the dartboard? While looking to the left, you will see a broken chandelier. This is pointing at the classic scene from the very funny show Only Fools and Horses, where Grandad knocks down the wrong chandelier, leaving Delboy and Rodney in pure shock. At Wyndham Village, in the village shop, you'll find a few Easter eggs. To the left, we have 4 candles and 2 fork handles, which is a nod to the funny 2 Ronnies sketch where there is some confusion. Then past Morris the Devious, check out the top right video if you want to see why I call him that. You'll see a dead Norwegian bluebird in the bottom of the cage. This is a reference to the classic Monty Python sketch where John Cleese demands to return a bird he just purchased.
It's dead. It's bleeding demise. It's dead.
In Casterfell Woods, I noticed this, and it might just be speculation. In this place, the birds aggressively attack anyone passing here. I believe this to be a reference to the classic 1963 film The Birds, directed by the famous British director Sir Alfred Hitchcock, where a plague of birds ruins a peaceful community, which is symbolic of how the world might be destroyed by a sudden disorder of nature's machinery. Back to the boathouse in Wyndham Village. On this table, check out this. This is a reference to the British series The Prisoner, where an unnamed British intelligence agent is abducted and imprisoned in a mysterious coastal village surrounded by 3 mountains and the sea. Look familiar? He is designated number 6. He is targeted by number 2, the village administrator who acts as the unseen number 1. The series has only 17 episodes, hence number 6 overcomes number 2's attempts to get information from him 17 times. The chessboard highlights the strategic battle of the two within the show. The white ball is the balloon-shaped automaton called Rover, which would roam around the village and recapture or kill those who try to escape. Then in Skeathermore Prison, if you head to the 2nd level of the jail cells, you can find this. From Prisoner 60 titled I Am Not a Number, referencing number 6 refusing to accept his designation and proclaim I am not a number, I am a free man. The note states to say hello to prisoners 433 and 763. I'm not sure who they are as I can't find them in the prison, maybe you can. Located in the auditorium of the interchange following this path will lead to this Easter egg, a note from BQ at the British Experiment Rocket Group addressed to Alan saying, we suffered a horrible tragedy a few years ago in circumstances that may well echo your research. This is a reference to the main character Professor Bernard Quatermass in the 1970s TV series Quatermass. Throughout Skeathermore you'll come across these outlaws with distinctive face painting on them. We've seen Rebellion highlight great work of other game studios such as Revolution. I believe this one to be a reference to We Happy Few. It's an action survival game developed by Compulsion Games set in dystopian retro-futuristic 1960s England. If you enjoyed this thoroughly crafted AtomFall Easter eggs video, please like the video and subscribe for future video, thanks. Also, if you enjoyed this, check out this one on the murder in the church. All the best and see you next time.